Hello everybody, today we're going to learn how to make some raspberry jam. I'm going to be using the black raspberries that I grew organically in my backyard and picked, and I've been showing you in my prior videos. And I will also be using some no sugar pectin to help it thicken up a bit and make a nice jam. Now, although it's no sugar pectin, I'm going to be using some sugar anyway, but I'm going to end up using about less than half the amount of organic sugar in my jam. There's my raspberries, and that are ready to go. Now I'm also going to be using a food mill to remove some of the seeds from the raspberries. I'm going to retain about half the seeds, and by mashing some with a potato masher, and remove the remaining half of the seeds from the remaining raspberries. Alright, so I took about half of these raspberries and I am mashing them with a potato masher, which I'm calling a raspberry masher. These berries are just incredible. Alright, so I'm going to mash these and I'm going to put the rest of the food mill. Okay, so I positioned the food mill on top of the pot. And I have my raspberries here and my cup. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some of these raspberries, pour them in the food mill, and start turning. And what this will do is push the raspberries through the holes, but like retain the seeds. So I'm going to stir that up a little bit. Throw in some more raspberries. See, it's all getting mashed and the pulp is going down in there. Alright, you don't got to stare at me doing this for so long, so I'm just going to pause the video now. Alright, at this point, this is the seeds from half of the black raspberries. There they are. And down in there is the fluid and pulp and everything else from the black raspberries that we're going to be making our jam with. And what I found is sometimes you want to stir it backwards a little bit to try to clear some of the grates before you turn it this way again, the right way. So left to clear the strainer, right or clockwise to press the whatever it is you are using with the food mill through the grates. Hey, I want to show you what this looks like. This is before I started cooking it, and it's like, I still see bits of pieces of fruit in there, but a whole lot less seedy. There's still some seeds, like half of it was through the food mill, and half just crushed with a potato masher. Alright, we had a little detour for lunch while we were waiting for our jars to finish in the dishwasher. I just turned the heat up on this, and we're going to let it to get a bit hot. I'm going to stir in the pectin, then the sugar, and make sure it's boiling really well. Alright, so at this point I'm going to be cutting open my pectin pouch and gradually stirring that in to my jam. I don't want to just dump it in and have it clump. I'm stirring it as I'm putting a little bit in at a time and incorporating it. I believe the pectin for these things comes from apples. Not that it really adds an apple flavor or anything. Organic butter. Throw in a little tiny bit of that. And stir this up really well. And you can see this is starting to get nice and hot. So try to scrape down the bowl a little bit. Still not at a rolling boil. I'm going to let that go a little bit and keep stirring it. Alright, now you can see that this is starting to boil pretty good. Just gonna get it to a really nice hot boil. The smell of this is incredible. This smells so great. Well, that's kind of the boiling that we want to see. I'll put this back down over here. And at this point, what I typically do is I'll add my sugar. And when I add sugar to like a jam like this one, I like to add it all at one time as I'm stirring. So that was 32 ounces of sugar, 2 pounds of sugar. You might think that's a lot of sugar, but based on the amount of raspberries I have, it's really not that much. And I'm going to continue to stir. And let that thicken up a little bit. You can see after adding the sugar how much of the foam went down. And I'm going to cook this a bit more. We'll cook this for a little bit, and then we'll get our jars ready. You can see I took a spoon and stuck it in, and it's kind of gelling on the spoon. So that's good. That's what I'm trying to see. It's boiling like crazy. Stir that up. I'm going to let this boil hard like this for probably like 3 or 4 more minutes. And then we should be ready to start putting it in jars. I put a little bit of jam on a spoon and I put it in the freezer for a second to cool it off, and you can see it's pretty solidified. So and it tastes wonderful. Oh my God. Alright. So I'm going to basically shut the heat off on this for now. Then we're going to go on top of the jars. They've all been cleaned and everything, so we're all good to go. And that's it. Alright, let me get the jars ready and we'll be right back. Alright, I got my jars ready. Jam is ready. It's cooling off a little bit. My tops are starting to come to a boil in the back. And I'm going to get ready to start filling these containers. So what I have is this great little funnel that you put on top of a jar and you're able to start filling them up. So I'm going to be doing that. Alright, so let's get started. I'm going to give this a good stir, and I'm going to be taking a ladle, start ladling in some of the jam into a cup or a jar. Now the thing is, you want to make sure your jars are hot, because you're putting in hot jam into a glass jar. You want to make sure that it is hot too, so that the jar doesn't crack. What I do for jam is I fill it up close to the top, probably within a half to a quarter inch of the top. Quarter inch probably. That's what I do for jam. So I'm going to fill up the rest of these real quick using the same method. Okay, try to angle the camera a little bit better so you can see better. But let's get started here. I'll try to put a little bit of jam into each one so that the jars stay hot. I've been told that I sometimes make a mess in the kitchen. I don't believe that. Oop. Alright, so generally we'll take a toothpick or something like this and stir out any bubbles on all of them. You could use a spoon, you could use a little plastic thing that comes in the kit. You can see it's starting to even gel on top already. I even got this extra amount over here that I'm just going to not can but put in the refrigerator. Pretty amazing. Good stuff. Alright, the next step is going to be to clean off these rims. Alright, so it's very important that we clean the tops of these off with a wet or moistened paper towel, because this surface needs to attach to the top of the can, the lid. So we won't want to have any debris that would stop that from sealing. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to use this magnetic device to pull these tops out of the boiling water so they don't get burned too much, and put them on the top of each one of these jars. Now that I got the lids on, the next step is to start putting these bands on. So tighten them down. The jars are very hot still with the hot jam in them. And I have to tell you, this has less sugar than the standard jam, yet it tastes delicious. Okay, so I got the bands on these, and I'm ready to start my water canner in this spot. Alright, so I got my canner with the water heating up, and I got this great little device that'll allow you to pick these up without burning yourself. I'm going to put them in the canner. 9 of these. Plus the leftover that wouldn't fit. So I placed it in my canner, and what I like to do is leave a couple of inches of water above the tops. So I'm going to be putting a little bit more water in. Alright, be right back. Alright, there we have it. We put more water in, and we're going to let that come to a good boil. I have the stove on as high as it'll go, and I'll let that boil just for probably about 15-20 minutes. And when that's finished, I'm going to take them out of there and put them on the counter. Alright, it's starting to come to a boil. And what I did is I put the top on to try to contain some of the heat. Now, this is a pressure canner. You don't need a pressure canner to do jams. I didn't even close the top of the pressure canner completely at all. I'm just trying to put a lid on it, and that's what I'm doing here. And it's boiling, and I'm going to let that go probably like for 15-20 minutes. Alright, be back. Alright, we're going to get ready to take these out. It's only been about 15 minutes. That's all you need, really. I'm going to take the lid off of this thing, and we will get ready to rock and roll. You might say to yourself, why are you doing this in the middle of 90-degree weather? Well, drastic times call for drastic measures. That's what it is. And I use this device to pull out the jars. Alright, that's what we have. 9 jars of black raspberry jam made organically. Very cool. Now, what has to happen is these are very hot. They need to cool off. And as they cool off, the tops that are now, I don't know if you can see how they're like pushed up from being processing. As they cool off, the stuff inside is going to contract and go down. It's going to actually create a vacuum inside of each one of these, and that's what's going to make it preserved so that you could put it in your shelf for over a year. Okay, so that's basically what we're doing, is we're going to let these cool off. As it happens, you're going to hear pops, and these lids are going to go down and make a good seal. So you're going to hear all kind of pops and clicks and stuff. Make sure you push on all of them the next day. Give it a good 24 hours to make sure that you have a good seal. If you push in the middle and you hear pop, 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 then you know that that one isn't sealed. And you might want to just put that in your refrigerator and use that one first. But you want to give that a good 24 hours to complete its sealing process. And that's it. Well, you hear that? One of them just sealed. This one just sealed. There's going to be lots of pops like that happening. That one that's not completely full. Oop, there's another one just popped. That one is not completely full. I'm putting that in the refrigerator. That's going to be the one I'm going to be using first. See which one will pop next. Isn't this exciting? Getting to look at these things and see which one pops next. My money is on this one over here. Okay, so it's not going to do it for me now, but anyway. There you have it. Black raspberry jam with black raspberries I grew myself organically and organic sugar. Hey, I also wanted to show you one of the books I get a lot of my canning and other information having to do with preserving my harvests. This Ball book on home preserving. I also have a blue book as well, but this book has a lot of really great recipes in it, and I use it, and has, you know, things like for pictures that show you, you know, what an end product can look like and how it could be used. But there's a lot of really great recipes in here. I'll put a link for this online too, this book. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe to my video channel here on YouTube, and check out my blog at www.cooking-italian-recipes.com for great Italian recipes, tips on organic gardening, winemaking, and herbalism, and all other kind of fun stuff that I'm into. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, tell your friends. Take care.